What is up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Start, Build, Grow Show. As usual, we have another incredible guest going to share a truly inspiring story. And my man is literally inspiring an entire industry right now. He's on fire. He's everywhere right now. Some amazing things going on. Every time I turn on the social medias, I turn on YouTube, I look at different things. I see what you got going on. I can't even turn on the real TV and everything. So lots of cool stories, lots of good stuff we're going to get to. So stay tuned. All right, welcome in. So at this point, probably doesn't need an introduction, but we go back a while now. We hit it off in pretty well a handful of years back, and I think this is one of those things where a lot of my guests and a lot of people I want to bring on, we're just kindred spirits. You just know when you meet somebody, you're like, that's somebody I need to know. That's somebody I need to be around. I appreciate what you're working on, what you're doing. High level visionary. And man, you are making some major waves and doing some big things in the roofing industry. But without further ado, welcome aboard. Welcome to the show, Josey Parks.
Thank you so much, Randy. Appreciate being here.
I love it, man. I mean, it was one of those things, man. We had to go back and forth. You're a busy man these days. We'll get into some of the reason why you're so busy. However, in traditional fashion on this show, man, we're all about sharing the entrepreneurial journey, in the contracting space, and obviously there's a lot of roofing and stuff involved as well. But let's just go back, man. How did you get into contracting? How did you get into roofing?
Yeah, so right out of high school. So in high school, I was selling security systems door to door, making like $1,000 a week. Talk about beer money in high school, man. It was awesome. But the roofing industry called me, and that was something that changed my life. I mean, it gave me so much vision and hope for an incredible future, because I realized, my success was based on how many doors I could knock and connect with people every single day. And I realized, like, I'm really good at this. And I really cared about the products I was selling. I was actually selling metal roofs. So I started when I was 18 years old, selling residential metal roofing door to door, working, home shows, state fairs, and knocking doors. And so we did retail as well as storm. And so I've been in the roofing business since I was 18.
Wow. And what part of the country were you in?
Texas, the most cutthroat market, I think.
selling retail metal roofs in Texas, right?
And storm damage. But they didn't understand storm. And so I had to really, we had to build a system and teach them what Xactimate was. And it was a lot. But, I was there for about a year and a half, and I was at the point I was scheduling all my own jobs. I was pissed at the, company. They could never actually deliver on promises. And so every morning I would have homeowners pissed off because the crew didn't show up. Their roof was torn off and there's no materials there. I mean, you name it. The production manager was an alcoholic who never actually showed up before like 10 o'clock. So we had all those types of issues at this company. We're selling high-end metal roofing. And so at that, year and a half into it, I was scheduling my own jobs, coordinating materials, all of that. And they're like, hey, why don't you just go be a dealer for us in Dallas? And so I was about 20 years old, and I started my company, my first metal roofing company, in 2009.
Gotcha. So it was like they basically prompted, they almost like forced you into it, right? It seems like.
Yeah, they were sick of hearing from me. They were just like, dude, just go buy materials from us and do it on your own. And little did I know they were charging me like $400 a box of nails, $20 a piece of it. Like they thought they were just gonna, take advantage of me in a pretty big way. And they did for a while before I knew better. And, so it was a learning experience, to say the least. And, it was awesome though. I mean, being 20 and having the dealership for the Dallas market, it was, big honor for me as well. So.
Yeah. Well, you got started early, man. I remember, I think I started my construction company when I was 23, I believe, originally. And it was, man, shoot, now I'm dating myself here. been at it quite a while, so it's super cool. So tough market. And that, maybe we'll press into that just a couple minutes, because metal, right? Metal's very unique. And you can look at roofing And a lot of people try to just create this cookie cutter model in roofing. And it's like, it doesn't,
Right.
I've never seen it. I've consulted with hundreds of companies, all different types. I have companies that specialize in metals, companies that do all retail, companies that do all insurance, companies that do all commercial, all different things. But there's so many different nuances and variables and verticals within roofing in and of itself. And for me, metal seems to be one that's, in my world, a little bit elusive. Give me the rundown of why metal and how you can build something and create, a unique offering there.
For sure. So, I mean, it wasn't until 2021 before I actually started selling shingles. So my entire career is built, I've been in it 17 years, is built off of specialty roofing. So all I did for, the first 14 years of my career was metal roofing. That's it. Like, I wouldn't do a shingle roof. Like, I refused to do it. I literally could count on my hand how many times I had done a shingle roof because I refused. It's like, why would you want to put that on your house when you could put this? I refuse to put that. This is the best product. If you're not going to get this product, go with someone else. So that was my motto. And that's why we sold a lot of metal roofs. But, I sold aluminum roofing. So I still have a dealership for Interlock. Before that, I had Isaiah Industries, which was an Alcoa product. So if you've heard of aluminum siding, whatnot, Alcoa, the foil, all of that. But they had a metal roofing product. It's an aluminum roof. And, the start of my career was just selling that metal roof door to door on insurance replacements, and as well as running appointments for comp to metal upgrades. And, aluminum in its DNA will never rust, corrode, or break down. It's a fantastic lifetime roof. I call it investment grade roofing. The only problem is when it hell hits that roof and causes dents. In addition to that, the type of locking system that product had that I first started out with had a circular lock and a straight lock. What would happen? Hell would hit on that lock and it would open it. And so that would compromise the integrity of the roof. And, whenever I started in the industry selling that, I believed in the product. It was the very best in the world. And then I saw in 2010, a hailstorm in Oklahoma hit, massive hail. I'll never forget driving up to a roof. I'd always heard the stories of how it's indestructible, like you cannot damage this roof. And then I remember driving up to this corner house and just looking up, and I mean, these panels are just unlocked completely and just curled up. The hail smashed it, broke the lock, and forced it up. And I was like really down. I was like, man, what am I going to do? Like, this isn't the best product. Like, so I just went on this journey and I found the absolute best metal roof that I could find. It was 55% thicker aluminum, corrugated, then pressed, anti-capillary locking. So I found the absolute best metal roof in the world. And I believe it still is the best metal roof in the world. Interlock Roofing. They're a company based out of Canada, and just started selling that. Then, I got into standing seam, roll forming, my own roofs, fab shop. So I bought a slitter, a folder, so we manufactured, we were doing up to 10 metal roofs per week where we custom fabricated the entire roof. So we buy the panels from Interlock, metal slate, metal shake, metal tile. Then we'd roll our own, but we cut all and fabricated all the trim in-house. And so, that was my experience for many years. And then insurance companies in Texas really changed the way they cover metal roofs. And I believe they screwed homeowners in this because they left the policy based on interpretation, and they stopped covering damage that compromised the integrity of the roof because they didn't feel that it compromised the integrity. And obviously certain things were taken advantage of with cosmetic damage and whatnot. So I'm not disagreeing there, but it really killed the market, So when I was 26, I think it was like 2014, 15, something like that, did $22 million. And, the insurance were just eating at my market share, and I was fighting this uphill battle, and I realized I had to expand. And so that's when I went in to doing tile roofing, did that for years. And now, I do all types of roofing. So I finally now got to the point where I'll sell you a shingle roof.
You finally converted to the dark side.
Yes, yes.
It's funny because my journey was like the opposite, right? I got, here's a hailstorm, go look at, shingled roofs, and here's how to find hail, go sell as many of them as you can and get the insurance pay for it and figure it out from there. And when I started my company, that was it, right? It was just the shingle roofs. And I think a lot of us, early on, us shingle guys make the mistake of early on, we think we need to be a GC and not just a roofer. I don't know what your thoughts are on this too, but a lot of small, young companies just start out, you get a hailstorm, and then you go in, I'm going to do everything. I'm a general contractor. I can do it all. And then all of a sudden you realize that, wow, it's an entirely different workflow, entirely different process, entirely different set of, subcontractors or internal, processes that you got to have to be able to execute all the trades at a really high level. And then you find yourself in a really challenging position. So I learned that early on, and I was like, you know what? Nope. I just want to be really dang good at doing one thing. Let's get really, really, really good at asphalt shingles. And then once we figured that out and we scaled up, we did really well there. Then we said, okay, let's add commercial. At the whole time we had a service department. We always did service repairs. And then we recently added a solar division. And now we do all things specialty, but it runs through a separate workflow. Our residential crew is still just all the residential they can do, asphalt they can do, but then any sort of metal, tile, stone coated steel, coatings, low slope, single ply, all the things. Now we have a whole different department that specializes in those things. But I don't know. That was just my journey on figuring out how to do one thing really well and then start adding,
you're so right.
And something that, we talked about a little bit before the show, talking about how to build a company that's sustainable in all types of economic environments. Right. I mean, I'm in a hail market. It hailed here for 9-10 years in a row in Colorado. Right. And then all of a sudden it didn't hail for 4 years in a row. And what do you do? Right. And I'm just grateful that I had enough, good mentorship and just training and just, ambition and just intuition as well as an entrepreneur to start every year. Here's 10 years ago, even when we were in the peak of hail season or hailstorms happening every year, I would start every year. I'd bring my whole team together. We'd do our annual planning, and let's start with, we are not getting hail this year. What are we going to do? Let's build our business, systemize our business in a way that we are not dependent on hail. And I think that mindset and that mentality is what helped get to the point where we started diversifying. And now we have different levers that we can pull at different times based on what the environment and what the market is telling us versus just playing defense all the time, trying to catch what we can get,
Yeah.
So
I wish I would have learned that sooner. Sooner. My mentor, actually, Larry Janeski, he had taught me that early on. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, man? I'm freaking crushing over here, this metal. I don't need to worry about, that. He's like, yeah, but what if the insurance companies change? I'm just like, nah, they're going to always cover roofs. What are you talking? Like, it doesn't matter. But they completely disrupted my business. They changed the rules of the game. And that's where, as contractors, we have to really think about that, is like, what rules are, like, what's the game we're playing? Like, what are the rules? Who can change those rules? And so I want a resilient business. I want a business that's predictable, that's then scalable. And if my business is based on an outside event, on a weather event, or on something that I cannot control, I don't really want to build my business off of that. And I had to learn that the hard way. And that's the importance of Win the Storm this year. And one of the big things that we're going to bring is how to bolt on retail into your storm business, because that's what so many stormers don't know. And if they don't get a storm, they could lose everything. Not so many people are as forward thinking as you, Randy, where they figure out how to bolt these things on instinctively and figure it out where they need help. I needed help. And so that's such an important aspect of the future and how the insurance industry has been changing, that we need to adapt and we need to be, agile, not freaking fragile, waiting on a storm.
Yep. I call that playing offense versus playing defense. Playing offense means you're controlling the cards, you're controlling the playbook versus I'm just going to deal with what I can get. Right. And I love that because you just segued, and we're going to go there, but I want to go into real quick, total home roofing, fast forward a little bit, walk me through that. I mean, you guys, I watched your show. It was probably a couple of years ago now, but you had a show, you were featured on a pretty cool show. So give me a little talk about that. I think that the audience can learn something.
Yeah. So I was on CNBC Blue Collar Millionaire, and that was, I think I was 26 years old. That was almost a decade ago that I was on that show. So yeah, it's really crazy how time flies. But, you know, that's at the time, like I was taking over the world with my metal roofing company. And then shortly, that's when it started to just decline and I had to find a new avenue. So I was looking at Colorado or Florida. And I was like, Colorado metal, more metal. I've already seen the pattern and what's happened with insurance. So I'm going Florida and tile. And so that's when I went all in there and moved to Florida and built a massive team in Florida selling tile roofs. That's all we did, tile and metal. And that was super successful. You know, we sold hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of tile roofs in Florida. And, you know, I left and I finished that venture, and it was with CMR. For those that know that company, they've been, you know, on pretty public here lately, but I left in 21. And so I scaled that company up. I had big conflict with the owner and, you know, wish them the best. But what I'm focused on is really the culture and the people and serving our customers and clients. And, you know, we were doing that. So I was proud of what we built while I was there. But, you know, I left, I was a chief revenue officer. So I got there, we had like 30 reps. When I left, there were well over 200. And, you know, it was a very successful venture. And now they probably got like 10. But, you know, I went into, after that, you know, I had my roofing company in Texas still the whole time. I had my technology companies. I think I had like 6 companies. Now I have 9. But, you know, I was focused on tech, like innovation, AI, like predicting the next home improvement, matching the right rep to the right lead, being able to predict how much revenue each appointment will generate. Very sophisticated technologies. And, you know, now we've put over 7 billion of revenue through that platform. Focused on Bitcoin mining for a while. I've done really good with that. And so I've got a lot of power. Contracted right now, I have almost 700 megawatts. And coming up, I've got a gigawatt of power. And if anybody knows power, it's, you know, unreal. And so, you know, those have been some other businesses that I've built. I'm a category creator, so I'm really good at solving problems, new problems. I'm not scared of them. And really it's from trial and error, trial by fire, and having people I can count on to ask for help. So many times contractors aren't willing to ask for help. I hired my first consultant at the age of 21. At the age of 22, yep. I was paying like $8,000 a month for a consultant to help me with my business. And it was retail. Like, how do I, you know, understand this, building me a pitch book, you know, for insurance replacements and retail. But, you know, that's really what has changed. I would say my life is that, like, I'm willing to ask for help, and I find experts that I can rely on to help me get there faster and give me those compounded results. But, you know, kind of went off track a little bit, but I'll get back to then. You know, I built all this in Florida, had a really good understanding of Florida, did some other stuff with my businesses, and I'm like, I'm ready to get back in. My buddy is one of the, you know, C-suite at Angie's List, hit me up and said, hey, Josey, would you like the opportunity to buy Total Home Roofing? And I was like, well, I'm looking to get back into roofing in Florida, so be happy to look at it. And so Total Home Roofing, you know, is a 9-figure roofing company, mainly shingles. They really did not do very good with specialty. And so, you know, I put a fund together and went through all the due diligence process, and I closed on Total Home Roofing in November. And, you know, it's been an absolute, you know, roller coaster of a ride, to say the least. Out of the gate, we had to lay off a lot of people. There was fraud there were some bad things going on in the company that I had to rip out really fast. And, you know, it's really sad to see, you know, that happen. You don't ever want to get into a company and go and just start firing people. But at the same time, everyone in this building is depending on me as the leader to navigate this ship in these waters. And, you know, what's interesting about it is metal roofing and tile is like, that's my thing. But here, I'm not even opening up to really focus on all that, because we got to get our systems and our process and our procedures and rebuild the whole CRM, rebuild our back end, so we can have a stronger front end. And so it's just crazy that, like, I'm not pushing metal right now in my company. It's crazy. Yeah. And that's just where it's at. So, you know, I have Total Home Roofing now, and, you know, we're really excited about the future and where we're going with it. And, you know, unfortunately, I've had to spend way more time outside of Total Home than what I would like right now, because when the storm. But
yep. So we're going right there. And I think there's something to be said about that, because couple things you said there that I believe are just profoundly wise, right? And I like the word wisdom because, you know, in at the end of the day, we're knowledge brokers, right? Our the whole goal as an entrepreneur is to gain as much knowledge as you can and share as much knowledge as you can. And the more you can complete that cycle, the better you get, the more you learn, and ideally the more success you're going to have. And I love that you mentioned that because we're kindred there early on, man. Any sort of mentor that I could connect with, I did early in my career. And I've had mentors and guides and coaches, and, you know, I still spend $100 grand plus a year on like coaching and different networks and different things I can go to always be learning and growing. And I've been on stages and spoke, and this is like 300 something episodes of this. And man, I'm still a student, and I love that part more. It's like, and you said that so being a student, be a student of your game. If you want to be the absolute best, be a student of your game. And I noticed that you're bringing Tim Grover in, right, to Win the Storm. We're going to go there because Win the Storm, to be candid, man, we're on the show, right? I went there, I think 7-8 years ago. I went to the show 7-8 years ago, and I think this was one down in Miami. And I left out of there, and I'll leave some of the details out. I left out of there, and I said, I'll never go back. It didn't match with me, my core values, and what I thought about the industry, unfortunately. And there's a lot of popularity, and I probably was the unpopular one, basically saying, okay, and I'm in the space where I need to connect with roofers, and that's where all the roofers are at. And I made that choice. I made that choice because of my own convictions as to why I wouldn't go back. Okay. Good. And I didn't. And we still managed to grow our business. We managed to do pretty well, and we're having a really big impact. You know, we're our little consulting company is doing really well. We have an incredible culture, an incredible, you know, group of tribe. We call it the TRA tribe, as I texted you earlier. But it's amazing. But I didn't go the traditional route of, well, this is where everyone's at. I'm going to dive in and go be where everyone's at, purely because it just I was convicted in a sense of it just wasn't me, wasn't my thing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, a few months back, I'm like, okay, what the heck just happened? I'm starting to see some stuff online. And last year, I kind of disconnected a little bit, like you were saying, from media and from the roofing industry, and just really focused on my businesses. And then I started to see, Josey, man, I haven't seen that in a while. And next thing I know, Josey takes over. I've known you for a while, and we've always had a good vibe. I always respect, you know, your leadership, respect your core values, and who you are, and your ambition. And that it piqued my interest, straight up, man. It piqued my interest. And I'm like, okay, let me press into this a little bit. What happened? And so I started asking around, and here we are, man. Now I got you, the man, the myth, the legend, on the call right now. What happened, and how did that? Talk to me about acquiring Win the Storm. And oh, by the way, I am going back to Win the Storm, and you're the reason why, my dude.
Amen. Thank you. Appreciate that. We have to believe in each other, and we have to believe that we can make this better. And, you know, my tagline that I'm trying to really instill into this is it's ours to create and it's ours to protect. It's up to us. No one's coming to save us. We have to be the change. And that's why I bought Win the Storm, is because the industry needs this. I need this platform. I need a place I can go and learn. I can grow. I need a brotherhood. I need a tribe I can get behind. And we all come there with the intention to level up, to raise the standards, and the bad actors to push them out. And so that's really where, you know, when the storm comes in, and like we all go through storms in our life, we all have these trials and tribulations, and like you got to ride through that storm. You got to get through it, get to the other side. And sometimes there's no way out. Like you can't see a way out, but you just keep going. And it's similar to like the bison. You know, I love the analogy of the bison is the only animal that charges the storm. And as stormers in this industry, we charge the storm. We leave everything behind for the most part. We ride into the storm. I've been caught in storms, tornadoes, hailstorms, like all kinds of stuff, chasing storms, risked my life. A lot of us have risked our lives in it. And that's where, you know, the industry needs Win the Storm. We need a place where we can all go and get different ideas and tactics and strategies, and what's really working in this market might not work in this market. But if I heard this guy talk about that, now thinking about my market, I could apply this. This expert told me this, you know, this marketing tactic worked with, like, just, we need to be in those conversations and have this place to collaborate. And so collaboration is key. We're not perfect thought-making machines. We don't know it all. Some people may think they do, but you don't. I know I'm ignorant. I don't. I rely on others and feedback, and I love to collaborate. And so I want an experience for us all to level up and to raise the standards of the industry. And that's really where, buying Win the Storm was the last thing I would have ever want. I'm a very personal guy. Like I'm just new on Facebook. Dude, I don't even know how to freaking use Facebook. I'm brand new. I've never really liked social media. I'm not a social media guru or anything like that. But I'm coming out of stealth mode just because it's so important to the future of America, our industry, our community, our people, that we are involved and that we have a voice. So many people don't stand up for what they believe in. They don't stand on principles and values. I respect the freaking crap out of that like you wouldn't go back, because it crossed the line, and we have to have a line. And, we need to have a line in our industry. Like, hey guys, if you don't play by these standards and rules and you're doing shady stuff, you're creating damage, you're filing bad claims, like you're doing these types of things, we should not support that. It shouldn't be scale, grow. No, it's like, let's build a good, sustainable business that doesn't take advantage of the industry, that doesn't cause all these problems for us. And we're not trying to maximize every single claim and gouge companies' insurance where they now hate us because certain people just want to gouge every claim, which I'm all about getting paid what you should. But there's conversations we need to have. So I really want to change the conversations. Like, I just want us to really think about, what do we need to do to have a more resilient industry, storm industry? What do we need to do to have a more predictable business in the event we don't have a storm? How do we continue to feed our people? That was always my driving force with metal, knowing that I had these crews that only worked for me and all these families depend on me. They were on my back. And so I had to continue to provide work for them and jobs in order to keep my labor. And so, I just look at the storm industry as, it's a lot of rebels, it's a lot of outlaws, and it's not your typical industry. And, we all want the best for each other. I think genuinely, I think most of the industries, we really care about each other. And Win the Storm was a big heart. Like, it was like a big beating heart of the industry. And I saw a huge loss with Win the Storm. It was very transactional. It wasn't the value. It didn't adapt with the times. And, it lost a lot of the vibe that it had, in which it wasn't the best, but it did. There were still great things that happened there. And I just thought that it was important for the industry's future to bring Win the Storm back. So I actually asked Andy, do you know Andy Frizella? You a fan of Andy?
Yep. Oh yeah.
So I went to an event.
Twice. Well, almost twice.
Yeah. Nice, dude. Respect, bro. I finished it once. I attempted it and it was awesome.
Well,
I love
we could talk about that if you want, but the second time was actually a little bit more impactful to me, and the reason why I was intentional on why I didn't finish it. But I digress on that. We'll go there later.
We'll have to talk about that. I'll have to, yeah. But anyways, I paid 10 grand. It was one day. It was at one event, and I went to a house, paid 10 grand because Andy Frizella was going to be there, and I wanted to be in the room with him. People undervalue the value of being in the right rooms. Like, I'll pay a lot of money just to be in a room where there's someone I might cross paths with that I can connect with them. I've always paid to be in rooms, and it's like the best. So Andy Frizella is the reason I bought Win the Storm. I was looking at it for due diligence, and I was like, nah, man, this is just, I can rebuild this. I don't need this. This is insanity. But I felt that, the industry needs to see that this can be good. So that's kind of my driving force. And I was telling Andy, I'm buying Total Home Roofing. I'm looking at buying this other thing, but it's a complete distraction. And it's going to really take me off course from my other. It's going to cost me many millions more in my other company if I'm distracted with this event. And he's like, will you regret not doing it? Didn't even have to answer, dude. It was just done. I'm buying it. And I've cried every day ever since. But no, I'm just kidding. No, but
you'll get your life back eventually, my friend.
Yeah. Hopefully so. That's what they're telling me. But so it's just, this is really for the people, by the people, and it's ours to create and it's ours to protect. This is something where the industry is going to level up. There's not going to be an experience like it at this scale of people in the industry. And, bringing a lot of experts, way less gurus, man. I'm not about gurus. I want pioneers, real people in the trenches, building businesses, leading people to share their stories, their, overcoming obstacles and creating success in their communities and for their people. And so really developing leaders. It's a very big focus on developing leaders and mental toughness, because there's too many weak-minded individuals now, and we need strong-minded individuals more than ever before. And so it's up to us. So I'm going to be the change. I'm going to sacrifice and, put this there. And I want to see other people sacrifice with me and level up the industry. I mean, at the end of the day, we need a new standard for carriers, customers, and contractors, and level the playing field with that. And I believe it's coming. I believe Win the Storm is leading the charge.
Well, you got my vote, my man. I'm back in. I believe in you. I believe in what your mission is, and I'm committed to doing whatever I can to support and commit, and commit whatever time and energy I can to help support you, brother. You got me. I love your vision and character and all the things. It's great.
JobNimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Are you looking to stand out with your proposal? Sumo Quote is the contractor quote that crushes the competition. It is the fastest way to build custom quotes that impresses clients and wins more work. It's one of those must-have technologies for roofing contractors, allowing them to sell faster, sell more, and sell smarter. Be sure to check them out at try.sumoquote.com/start-build-grow.
So when is this thing? It's coming up. Real quick.
Yeah, real fast, man. March 14th through the 16th in Dallas, Texas at the Hilton Anatole. The 14th is kicking off at night. James Lawrence is going to be talking, but the day of the 14th is going to be our VIP and Elite Day, where my mentor, who gave me the biggest mindset shift in my career, Larry Janeski, taught me the importance of working on your business versus in your business. And I literally retired from selling in October of 2013. I sold $6 million the year before, door to door, and metal roofing only metal in Texas. So it's pretty, I don't know anybody that sold more residential metal than that in Texas. But I retired because I realized that's not going to develop me into the leader I need to be for my people. That's not going to help my business grow into what I envision it to be. And we have a big focus on developing leaders. And so on Thursday, it's a very in-depth training that will literally completely change your perspective on you as a leader and who you are to your business. And it's one of the highest callings to be a business leader, because your people are depending on you, your community's depending on you. And so I feel like it's a big opportunity for people that want to level up. So anyone with a growth mindset, you got to be there. Like this training, Larry is the millionaire maker. He's made more. I don't know. There's no way anyone's created more millionaires than him in contracting. No way. He's been training contractors, but for his exclusive dealer networks, for like basement systems, crawl spaces, that type of stuff. He's pretty new into the roofing space. But these developing your mind, I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yep.
And so that's his focus. And so what's been only exclusive to his dealers through this, now people are going to get a taste of that and get some of these like life-changing exercises at Win the Storm. So get there.
All right, man. Definitely couldn't have said that better myself. So I'm excited for it. It's in Dallas, and I got a little secret for you. So if you're listening to this podcast or you're watching the clip, I got a little promo code for you. If you want to get your tickets, use the promo code Randy right there. It's spelled RANDY. Throw it in there, and we'll save you some money on your ticket. And 25%. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to go there. I'm excited to connect and re-engage with Win the Storm. Excited to connect with you as well. But before I let you go, we're going to circle back to, you mentioned a lot of leadership and entrepreneurship, and that's what this show is all about, my man. So you've been in a lot of rooms with a lot of great people. You've had a lot of great mentors. So I'm going to ask you for your golden nugget. And what that means is, what's the one piece of advice that that you either have received or that you like to give to a young aspiring entrepreneur that's listening to this show today?
Thoughts lead to action. Action leads to results. Again, I'm going to say we're not perfect thought-making machines. And so you have to control your environment. There's so much noise. Everyone is attacking your mind. Everyone wants your attention. And you have to really create your environment and the information coming in. So I think it's more important than anything to protect what's coming in. I mean, these eyes and these ears, our senses and all of that, that's what creates our thoughts, really. I mean, for the most part. And so knowing we're not perfect thought-making machines, we got to control the inputs because that's what produces the outputs and the connections that we have with others and individuals and people and who you're focused on. And so that's the key is like, environment and protecting that. And your stop doing list, you really need to stop doing lists. What are things that are limiting you? I think these machines that control and manipulate you, that's the biggest factor. And, we have to actioneer our future. So like, I'm an actioneer. Like if there's one thing that I am an actioneer. I take massive action and every day I'm engineering my future. So I'm making decisions today as if I'm who I want to be in the future. So my message is be an actioneer. Stop waiting around. Just take massive action, measure the results, adjust your actions, and take audacious action and create the life that you want. So actioneer it.
I love it, man. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Take action, because here's the thing. Regardless of the results, you're going to learn. The more you learn, the better you get. Yeah. And when you apply that to leadership, the better you get as a leader, the better you empower others to grow as leaders, and the more freedom you get, right? Isn't that what we're all chasing? We're all chasing freedom, right? So I love it, man. Thanks, Josey. Appreciate you joining us. Get to Win the Storm. It's winthestorm.co. And click on get your tickets, enter the promo code RANDY, get you some tickets, and we'll both be there. Obviously, you'll be there. I'll be there. We'll be hanging out in Dallas. It's only a couple weeks from now, so get your tickets. I'm excited about it. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to myself. If we have questions or we want to learn more about you, what you got going on, what's the best way to reach out to you, my man?
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything is Josey Parks, JOSEYPARKS. Pretty simple.
That works. All right. So, and as always, if you are listening to the show, if you've watched the show, and you haven't actually subscribed, stop what you're doing right now. Swipe up the screen, press the button, subscribe. We have over 300 shows of the Start Build Grow Show, and so much content. And if you've gotten some value out of it, thank you so much for your support, your subscriptions. Help us to grow the audience and to have a bigger impact. Thank you, everybody. Take care. God bless.
Yeah. See y'all.